This Ncert audiobook is of class 10th Social Science Geography Chapter 1 Resources and Development. Can you identify and name the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? List the items and name the material used in their making. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resources. This figure 1.1 is of interdependent relationship between nature, technology, and institution. Human beings, physical environment, that is nature, technology, and institutions. The process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology, and institutions. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Do you think that resources are free gifts of nature as is assumed by many? They are not. Resources are a function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. These resources can be classified in the following ways. First, on the basis of origin, that is biotic and abiotic. Second, on the basis of exhaustibility, that is renewable and non renewable. Third, on the basis of ownership, that is individual, community, national, and international. And fourth, on the basis of status of development, that is potential, developed stock, and reserves. This figure 1.2 is of classification of resources. Resources, first is natural and second is human. And the subcategories of natural resources are renewable and non renewable. And of human resources, structures and institutions, and quantity and quality. Under renewable, there are two: continuous or flow. Examples are wind, water, and second is biological. Under non-renewable, there are recyclable, example metals, and non-recyclable, example fossil fuels. Under biological, natural, vegetations, forests, and wildlife. Here, your second activity is given. Identify at least two resources from each category. Types of resources. On the basis of origin, first is biotic resources. These are obtained from biosphere and have life such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. Second is abiotic resources. All those things which are composed of non-living things are called abiotic resources. For example, rocks and metals. Second, on the basis of exhaustibility. First is renewable resources. The resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical processes are known as renewable or replenishable resources. For example, solar and wind energy, water, forests, and wildlife, etc. The renewable resources may further be divided into continuous or flow. Second, on the basis of exhaustibility, is non-renewable resources. These occur over a very long geological time. Minerals and fossil fuels are examples of such resources. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources, like metals, are recyclable, and some, like fossil fuels, cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. Second, on the basis of ownership. No, it's actually third. First is on the basis of origin, second on the basis of exhaustibility, and third is on the basis of ownership. And under this, first is individual resources. These are also owned privately by individuals. Many farmers own land which is allotted to them by government against the payment of revenue. In villages, there are people with land ownership, but there are many who are landless. Urban people own plots, houses, and other property. Plantation, pasture land, ponds, water in wells, etc. are some of the examples of resources ownership by individuals. Make a list of resources owned by your household. Second, on the basis of ownership, is community owned resources. There are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community: village commons, grazing grounds, burial grounds, village ponds, etc. Public parks, picnic spots, playgrounds in urban areas are de facto accessible to all the people living there. Third is national resources. Technically, all the resources belong to the nation. The country has legal powers to acquire even private property for public good. You might have seen roads, canals, railways being constructed on fields owned by some individuals. Urban development authorities get empowered by the government to acquire land. All the minerals, water resources, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries, and oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, 22.2 km from the coast, termed as territorial water and resources therein belong to the nation. Fourth is international resources. There are international institutions which regulate some resources. The oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the coastline of the country belong to the open ocean, and no individual country can utilize this without the concurrence of international institutions. Do you know? India has got the right to mine manganese nodules from the bed of the Indian Ocean, from that area which lies beyond the exclusive economic zone. Identify some other resources which are international in nature. On the basis of the status of development. First is potential resources. Resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. For example, the western parts of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. Second, developed resources. Resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on technology and level of their feasibility. Third is stock. Material in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access these, are included among stock. For example, water is a compound of two gases, that is hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen can be used as a rich source of energy, but we do not have advanced technical know how to use it for this purpose. Hence, it can be considered as a stock. Fourth here is reserves. So, reserves are the subset of the stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know how, but their use has not been started. This can be for meeting future requirements. River water can be used for generating hydroelectric power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, the water in the dams, forests, etc., is a reserve which can be used in the future. Here, another activity is given. Prepare a list of stock and reserve resources that you are familiar with from your local area. Our new topic is development of resources. Resources are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. It was believed that resources are free gifts of nature. As a result, human beings used them indiscriminately, and this has led to the following major problems. First is depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of a few individuals. Second, accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, that is, haves and have nots, or rich and poor. Another activity: imagine if the oil supply get exhausted one day, how would this affect our lifestyle? Second, plan a survey in your colony or village to investigate people's attitude towards recycling of the domestic or agricultural wastes. Ask questions about what do they think about resources they use. Second, what is their opinion about the waste and its utilization. Third, collage results. Indiscriminate exploitations of resources has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. An equitable distribution of resources has become essential for a sustained quality of life and global peace. If the present trend of resource depletion by a few individuals and countries continues, the future of our planet is in danger. Therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life. Sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generations. Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of state met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. The summit was convened for addressing urgent problems of environmental protection and socio-economic development at the global level. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. The Rio Convention endorsed the Global Forest Principle and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. Now, what is Agenda 21? It is the declaration signed by world leaders in 1992 at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development (UNCED), which took place at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It aims at achieving global sustainable development. It is an agenda to combat environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation on common interests, mutual needs, and shared responsibilities. One major objective of Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Our new topic is resource